JK, welcome to Ghana.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. What are you doing here?
A lot of things.
Uh-huh.
I was here for Aquavaganza, and it was redefined for me by the MC. He kept saying Accra's #1 pop culture festival. And I said I'll run with that.
Okay,
I started calling it Accra's #1 pop culture festival. So I was here for the Guinness Aquavaganza last weekend on Saturday. Because we also run a BTL agency in the country, so yeah. So I'm here to check on work, business, and all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're big in East Africa. What is the scene like? What's the BTL scene like? Okay, wait. Let's take a step back.
Yeah.
You know, we get lost as marketers, using a lot of terminologies. We blame the doctors for doing that, but we actually do the same. Please tell us more. What is BTL?
BTL marketing is so everyone understands traditional marketing, but traditional marketing will talk to you either through TV or through radio. A brand will tell you what it's about. For BTL, for below the line, you'll be involved. That's the big differentiator. You'll be involved in what the brand is doing. Either you interface with it, emotionally, you touch it, you physically, interact with the people representing the brand, and that's the difference. The other one speaks to you. It's very passive. You either see it on a billboard, the brand is talking to you on a billboard, or on TV, on radio. BTL, you're involved. It will come to you, you'll experience it, and that's the big differentiator. That's what BTL
so that's where you have stuff like sampling.
Yes.
The stuff you see that happening at the malls.
Yes.
So a concert is not just a concert.
No.
Okay.
A concert looks like it's a concert, but it's a platform for brands to connect and interact with consumers, and that's what we offer. So on the surface, it looks like a festival, it looks like a concert, but you get in there, there's a brand sampling you a product, there's a brand showing you a new product or a new innovation coming out. So what we do is basically manage those interactions.
Okay.
Brands and people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's this buzzword of culture. Where do you find below the line culture and entertainment blending?
So one, there are people, or there's people like us that have put in quite a bit of time to try and keep our finger on the pulse of culture, and these are trends, consumption habits. What are people into? What are they gravitating to? Which is informed by data, which is informed by preferences, by levels of engagement. Because once people start to disengage, then that's feedback that maybe it's either out of culture or it's out of sync or the right demographic. So once you have those people that have access to culture, then it's easy for a brand to work with those people to bridge that connection. Yeah.
Okay. So how does it directly affect sales? Where's the correlation?
So you're talking about experiences and conversion?
Yes, because when it comes to business, at the end of the day, if I'm spending, I want to see value, right?
So some people look at experience as, okay, we're just blowing money. We're not necessarily selling. But ask yourself, why do people buy what they buy? People buy brands that they emotionally connect with. And people do not put a premium on that emotional connectivity, but it's so big. And for you to build that, you have to remember how a brand made you feel. Like if you are in a bar, and it's a typical bar evening, you're drinking your usual whatever you're drinking. You see all the ads and the comms on the screens, but that's all good until a brand shows up in that bar and disrupts what's happening, and you remember that interaction. If it's a pleasant one, you remember that interaction, and that's how you build emotional connection, and that will convert into a purchase decision. Because the next time you are trying to buy or make a purchase decision, it's going to be based more on how you felt, not the discount.
True.
Yeah, people sometimes, I don't know, it's the discount.
Yeah, there's a price component.
Yeah, but it's going to come down to how that brand made you feel, and then that's how you convert. So brands must then invest in building that connection.
Okay.
In getting people connected to their brand, understanding them, and interfacing with them, because people will trust brands that they've interfaced with. Yeah, like whether we like it or not. If a brand is, you just see it on the billboards and hear it on radio and TV, you know it. There's awareness.
Yes, awareness.
Yeah, you know it. Does that mean you connect with the brand? That is not guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah.
How has digital also influenced experiential?
Digital, lately you can't even separate the two.
Okay.
You cannot separate the two because this is what digital has been able to do in terms of experiential. Before you set up an experience at a mall, and then you only be able to reach the people who come to that activity. Now there's a very interesting component that effective BTL activities should have a shareable element in them, because then digital allows you to share those moments. It allows you to amplify, to reach even a bigger audience that didn't necessarily show up at the activity or the location, but have somehow consumed it through a friend,
Social media.
through social media, through their peers. So now you can't separate the two. It's a non-negotiable. It's become such a non-negotiable for the two now to work together. Yeah.
What I would love your insight on is, the West Africa experience versus the East Africa experience. I know you are well versed in the East African market.
Yeah.
What do you see as the benefits and values of, learning from each other?
So this is how I see Africa.
Okay.
Africa is so diverse, so different, yet so the same.
No wonder people think Africa is a country.
Yeah.
It's not.
Actually, I would rather we start seeing Africa as a country.
Really?
You see, we take offense when foreigners call us a country. Like, no, we are a continent. We should actually behave like we're a country. Because then we are able to get rid of these borders and boundaries, because the biggest barrier to actually doing business on the continent is those borders. So we should stop actually praising the borders. We should start looking at Africa as one piece. But again, with that said, there are nuances that are different from not even just West Africa, because it's also not fair to generalize Ghana as West Africa, because we do business in Lagos, we do business in Accra.
Yeah.
So we know there's a difference.
Yeah,
like Accra and Lagos are totally
even in Ghana there's a difference when you're in Southern versus Northern.
Yeah, I haven't been
or
to
even East or
Kumasi.
West.
I've been told even you can't assume how you show up in Accra is exactly how you should show up in Kumasi, for instance.
Exactly.
And it's the same in East Africa. So when you're in West Africa, it's easier for you to assume East Africa is all the same. It's actually not. I see this a lot with our Kenyan counterparts. They tend to think what worked in Kenya will work in Uganda, but half the time it fails. Because Uganda is a very totally different market. Tanzania is a totally different market. And the Kenyans and the Ugandans tend to think, or maybe Tanzania is slower. True, they're not as fast in Dar es Salaam, the coastal city. But it doesn't mean they're not progressing. Tanzania has, one of the most interesting nightlives.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but then a lot of people won't understand that until they go there. Uganda, on the other hand, is very vibrant, very chaotic. So sometimes you, like we have a city, sometimes you wonder if it's a real place. It feels like a concept. Sometimes our roads can be embarrassing. But what we have is a very vibrant social life. We have a very, very vibrant social life. We have good people in Uganda. There's a party everywhere, every night. And what does that mean to marketers? We pretty much know where to find the consumers, and you're guaranteed they are going to be out. And the touch points are music and partying.
And meat.
And
meat is more Kenya.
Meat is more Kenyan.
Okay.
Meat is more Kenyan. But yes, we own meat as well, but meat is more Kenyan. An outing with a Kenyan has to have beer and meat. Both of them, one of the two. So Africa is very, very interesting in that perspective. Different, yet the same. Yeah, at the same time.
What would be your take on data, the power of data in experiential marketing?
So data and experiential marketing, that's one crucial thing. And lately, because now we can access it fast and real time. I'll give an example during festivals. What we're trying to build as a business, maybe I'll explain from that angle, because we've realized how data is important for not just clients, but even us to come up with BTL strategies that are very efficient. Imagine if all festivals, and this is what we're trying to do as a business. We're trying to go cashless on most of our events and festivals. But that gives us access to crucial data in terms of what our users, what our consumers at the festivals, what are they drinking?
Yeah.
At what point of the festival do they drink? What are they eating?
Yeah.
When do they buy their tickets?
Yeah.
Do they buy early bird? Do they buy at the gates? And that is good for not just us, but even the consumers themselves. Because when you come to the festival, we'll get to a point where now we can predict what you want to drink.
True.
Or we'll stock it accordingly. So you avoid a situation where you go to a festival and your favorite beer is out of stock. Because we know say we can predict 80% of our audience. We know their consumer habits. We know whether they are whiskey drinkers or they are beer drinkers. And we know at what time of the festival that they drink. So then we manage the chilling capacity of the festival. And that you can only do with data. So which means you must collect it, but also responsibly use it.
Responsibly use it.
Because there's a responsibility that is on our shoulders for everyone who collects data. And different markets, and even globally, you must be responsible with the data. But for as long as you're keeping it within the same reasons you collected it, I don't think you'll get out of trouble, as long as you're not selling it. But data is crucial to everything BTL, as it is to ATL and everything else.
And I think what we also mix up is seeing the end result of an experience versus the science that goes into it. There's that perception that, it's a concert, it's fun, okay. Or even it's a mall activation. They just showed up. They gave us items to sample, and that was it. What is the process? And I think that if we hone in on the process, there's also value to how it's done, and it just brings more light on what the experiential world looks like. So if you could just give us a few points here and there of what the process is like before you actually see the the 1 day of experience, because you think about it, customers or brand lovers will show up for 1 day, but it's probably been 6 months or a year of planning.
True. And like you said, what's the process? The process is planning. Like 95% of the work is actually planning, because you come and see the event for a few hours or the activation for a few hours, but we've done most of that work before. But at the start of it all, because most of us as BTL agencies, we're B2B service. So we service brands. It's rare that we're servicing our own needs. So we are the intersection between, or the bridge between the clients and their end consumers. So we help them convert consumers to drink or consume their products, whatever that is. So what does that mean in terms of our processes is we must understand what the brand needs to solve. What are they solving for? Because you are
solving a problem, right?
But what is the brand solving for? Is it sales? Is it equity? Are their equity scores struggling? Is it trying a new product? Is it recruitment? Is it retaining existing consumers? So you need to have clarity on that before you even start planning anything BTL. Know what the brand is trying to solve. And usually that will be informed by the strategy shared by the client, or they know their pain. It's also very hopeless for you to assume, I know this brand, I know what they need to do. No. Understand what the brand is trying to solve for. Then go ahead and build a creative BTL concept around that. And that's the journey we take. We understand their brief and their problem, then we can create concepts on how we can solve that. Of course, in alignment with budgets, there's always budget conversations there. And a lot of agency people are always going to be frustrated. We had a beautiful idea and the client did have a budget. There's always budget. I'm a big believer that not every problem money should be thrown at. Let's only throw money at problems. So you want to find effective, creative ways to solve problems. So once you have alignment with the client, then the rest is operation, is execution. Then that's when you bring in your executing teams to now start doing layouts and mock-ups, and some of that is intertwined in the planning process, because some clients will want to see, say, what kind of BTL experience are you giving me? Can you mock it up? Can can I see how it come to life? So you find that morphs into the planning process.
Okay.
But it's purely that you plan a lot. you mock up things, you do dry runs, you rehearse it and stuff, and then you roll it out. Yeah, and then because of experience, like in our case, because we've done this for quite some time, 20 years now, so it reduces our risk of failure in terms of we are not learning as much on job. As much as the market is evolving so fast, the fundamentals stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah, like you need to sell, like you can't argue about that. Yeah.
All right, tell us about Buzz Activate. You've done some really great stuff.
Buzz Activate is a BTL agency that a lot of people now claim is the biggest on the continent.
I like that.
By number of countries and size of clientele and also experience. We'll need to verify that, but I hear that.
Well, you still have your brands, you still have your clients, so you must be doing something right.
I hear that from a lot of our people, especially internally. I need to start, verifying that information. But yes, we're a BTL agency. We've sold pretty much everything, from sports. And what has made us different, I think, and stronger in most markets as opposed to many BTL agencies, we create platforms, we create properties, and that's our strength. Most BTL agencies are heavy on briefs. What is the client brief?
Yeah.
We are very proactive. Like historically, we've created some of the strongest properties for young people in East Africa. In Ghana, we've created the Guinness Extravaganza. We own the IP 100%.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We actually own most of the IPs on most of the properties that we create. And that has made us very different because we look at the market, we look at the data, and because we are skewed to the young audience, we've always been the agency for young people. So we always see their needs change before even other people feel that. Like I see people saying, the young people, Gen Zs, but this has always been the case.
Yeah.
There's always
They've
been
always
young
been
people
young people
that we don't understand.
We were young ones.
And I'm sure our parents didn't understand us. So we don't join that chorus of complaining about young people. We just work with young people. We employ them. Like, for instance, we had a launch, the new bottle of Guinness launch in Uganda. And that project was handled end to end by Gen Z. Must be like 23 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, end to end, because you want to trust them and understand that they know where their peers want to be or want to experience. And that has made us different in many ways. Like we embrace working with young people. We're in 5 countries right now. We're in Tanzania, we're in Rwanda, we're in Uganda, we're in Kenya, and we're in Ghana. And still counting.
Still counting.
We hope to be in 10 countries in the next 5 years. Yeah, that's where we are. We pretty much worked with everyone. We've worked with a lot of the multinationals, Stanchart, Stanbic, Diageo, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. And maybe just to give you the history of where Buzz even starts. So I started Buzz. My history is in school when I was in high school.
Okay.
I was the guy
who had all the cool parties.
I'll do the alternative parties. So there'll be the official parties. but then I'll do the alternative parties. Like I would always do something totally off.
And those are the bigger ones.
They always sell out. There'll be the cooler ones. People would hold onto their money to pay to the official parties, and then they wait for you to announce the unofficial party, and then you sell out. So I was that kind of guy. And then I was a dancer as well, so I knew how to put together my other dancers and put them into some kind of production and do a show and collect money. So that was my life from like senior 3, senior 4. So when I left high school, I did not stop doing that. So I did that through campus. I quit campus to actually get serious with it.
No way.
Yeah, I dropped out in my second year, 1 year to graduate on my IT engineering course, software engineering. So then I started going in schools, doing the same thing, doing shows and a magazine. I created a youth magazine, a teen magazine called Buzz. That was the initial product actually. It was a book.
Oh wow.
A high school magazine. So it became such a hit. and it was doing promos and activations in school. I did not even know what BTL was. Like, I didn't know about experiential marketing. Me, I was just having a good time.
Making money from your passion.
Yeah.
I love that.
Just
I
throwing
love
parties in schools, and and of course you run out of the money. One of the reasons I had to quit was I had a choice. I had my tuition fees, either paid or use it for my dancing and my book.
For the business.
Yeah, I was like, no. I think this, I'm more sure about this than school. and I continued picking that money from my mother for the rest of the year. So actually,
God bless our mothers.
Yeah. I continued picking it, and I love that woman so much because that was my capital. That's how I started. And then after school, I continued to do it. Then brands started coming to me. Coca-Cola came to me, Pepsi came to me, because they needed to be in the same spaces that I had access to. What I did not realize at the time is I had so much access to a big consumer base, and other people noticed. So when I was looking for advertisements for my magazine, they were not even heavily interested in that. They were even interested in the access, in the community that I'd built. And that's how we became an agency, serving Pepsi, Coke, and then we were like, no, we're just young people, we're not doing alcohol. We don't want young people to drink alcohol. But the pressure was too much. Even the beers wanted in. So we went to universities. And that's how we grew from one school to another university, to becoming the country's biggest BTL agency. And now here we are on the continent. 5 countries and counting.
Congratulations, JK.
Thank you. Thank you.
We hope to learn a lot from you. Interestingly, I also have a BTL background, and it's interesting to see how it's evolving.
Yeah.
And I think that as we learn across from a sub-Saharan perspective, we can give value to brands, and then we can also give the Gen Zs or anyone ready to want to be part of the creative economy an opportunity to think and be creative. And brands like yours, I think, are a great platform for them. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
Tea, coffee.
Good catch up.
Good catch up.
Good catch up. I don't see you also in a while.
I
think I saw you when you were doing Akravaganza, the 2nd edition.
Yeah. I was invited, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm a lover of pop culture, so I'll show up.
Okay.
But I hope to see you in Uganda.
Thank you.
Hopefully later in the year.
Sure.
So watch out. I'll be there for the next festival.
July. I think she'll come in July. I'll tell you why you should come in July.
Okay, July. Watch out. I'm coming, Uganda.